UN Secretary General Antonio Gutteres is calling for maximum restraint after Iran launched its attack on Israel early on Sunday.
U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson said he will try to advance wartime aid for Israel and Ukraine this week.
The lead candidate of Hungary's leftist opposition party DK called for snap elections at a joint opposition campaign opening event in Budapest. UN Secretary General Antonio Gutteres is calling for maximum restraint after Iran launched more than 300 drones and missiles at Israel early on Sunday. While opening the Security Council, Gutteres said all had a shared responsibility to de-escalate tensions and work for peace.
It's time to step back from the brink. It's vital to avoid any action that could lead to major military confrontations on multiple fronts in the Middle East. Civilians are already bearing the brunt and paying the highest price. And we have a shared responsibility to actively engage all parties concerned to prevent further escalation.
White House National Security official John Kirby told US media on Sunday President Joe Biden does not want an escalation in the regional conflict with Iran and is working on a diplomatic solution.
This is like a real war. This is a declaration of war, not because we are restrained and because we know the repercussions and because we have deliberations with our partners. We are considering all options, and I'm quite confident that we will take the necessary steps that are necessary to protect and defend our people. We are not war seekers.
The push to encourage Israel to show restraint is in line with ongoing US efforts to curtail Israel's war against Hamas, now in its 7th month, and to do more to protect civilian lives.
Hundreds of displaced Palestinians began a perilous trip to the isolated northern part of the enclave amid rumors of an open passage. The move comes as the Israeli military renewed its warning against the return of displaced people to northern Gaza, saying that the area remains a war zone.
احنا بدنا نروح بدنا نعيش حياة كريمة 6 شهور احنا إلنا 6 شهور في الذل هذا بدنا نروح على غزة بدناش شيء.
Palestinians headed north along the coastal Rashid Road, one of the two main roads linking Gaza's both extremes. They are traveling on donkey carts, in cars, and even on foot. Cardinal Timothy Dolan, Archbishop of New York, led a service in the West Bank on Sunday amid increasing tensions in the region.
When I meet with the people here in Bethlehem, when I meet with people in Ramallah, when I meet with people in Jerusalem, they may be Muslims, they may be Christians, they may be Jews. Most of them just say, we just want peace.
Archbishop Dolan's visit comes after 6 months of fighting in Gaza that has pushed the besieged Palestinian enclave into a deepening humanitarian crisis.
For what purposes, gentlemen from Ohio seek
U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson said he will try to advance wartime aid for Israel this week as he attempts to win the approval of the House for a national security package that also includes funding for Ukraine.
Сучасна авіація доводить свою ефективність, сучасні системи ППО здатні давати захист життю. Зараз на Близькому Сході це було продемонстровано. Увесь світ бачить, що таке справжній захист. Бачить, що це можливо. І весь світ побачив, що Ізраїль в цьому захисті був не наодинці. І коли Україна каже, що союзникам не можна заплющувати очі на російські ракети і дрони, це означає, що треба діяти. І діяти сильно.
A man was killed after a Russian drone hit the truck he was driving in the Sumy region. Officials in the Kharkiv region also say they had retrieved the bodies of a 61-year-old woman and a 68-year-old man killed by a Russian strike during the weekend. Shelling in the Russian-occupied Kherson region killed 2 civilians Sunday, said Moscow-installed leader Vladimir Saldo.
French President Emmanuel Macron on Monday said the opening ceremony for the Paris Olympics planned on the river Seine could be shifted instead to the Stade de France if the security threat is deemed too high. The ceremony involves boats carrying athletes along the Seine on a 6-kilometer parade and huge crowds watching from the embankments.
Il y a un dispositif sans précédent. Jamais la France n'aura autant anticipé et déployé autant de moyens sur la sécurité. Moi, j'ai confiance dans les forces de l'ordre de notre pays pour sécuriser ces Jeux.
The 26th of July event is set to be the first Olympic opening ceremony held outside a stadium setting. To limit security risks, Macron said organizers could decide to shorten the itinerary of the parade on the Seine or even relocate. Last month, the French government increased its security alert posture to the highest level after the deadly attack at a Russian concert hall claimed by the Islamic State.
With less than 2 months to go before the European elections, the French right-wing candidate François-Xavier Bellamy wants to show he is tough on immigration. On Friday, the member of the center-right European People's Party chose a symbolic place to do so, the French city of Menton near Italy, a flashpoint of the migration debate which has sparked multiple diplomatic rows between both countries. Bellamy's goal to meet with the French border police and to reaffirm his party's opposal to the recently approved EU migration pact, deemed too lax by the French conservatives.
Nous nous sommes opposés à l'essentiel de ce pacte asile et migration parce que nous sommes ici à une frontière où l'on constate concrètement le désarmement de nos États face à la crise migratoire et nous pensons qu'il faut sortir de cette impuissance et malheureusement le pacte asile et migration ne permet pas d'apporter la solution nécessaire pour réussir à mieux protéger nos frontières.
The candidate went against the request of his own parliamentary group in Brussels, co-author of the pact, to vote for the majority of the reform. The pact aims to speed up the asylum process and also simplify the return of irregular migrants to their home countries. It will require member states to share responsibility for asylum seekers either by taking in more migrants or by providing extra funding. In the Roya Valley, an hour away from Menton, this activist for the NGO Roya Citoyenne, known for sheltering migrants who have crossed the border, has slammed both the new pact and Bellamy's stance on immigration.
Ça va simplement rendre leur passage, leur vie et leur parcours beaucoup plus durs, beaucoup plus dangereux. N'importe comment, on n'arrête pas un flux de personnes qui sont désespérées, qui ont quitté leur pays de cette façon-là, et d'une façon ou d'une autre, ils passeront ou ils mourront.
More than 44,000 arrests were carried out at this border crossing in 2023, with some of these migrants having been detained multiple times. A sensitive topic that will remain at the heart of these upcoming European elections, as the member states must now endorse the final version of the pact, possibly in a vote at the end of April.
The lead candidate of Hungary's leftist opposition party DK called for snap elections at a joint opposition campaign opening event in Budapest. According to MEP Klára Dobrev, if the majority of Hungarian voters declare on the 9th of June they no longer wish to be governed by the Orbán regime, the opposition will push for early elections. European Parliament and local elections will take place in June.
A házak későbbi összeomlásának az egyik legbiztosabb jele, amikor az alapok elkezdenek repedezni. Na ez történik pontosan most a Fidesszel. Mára a nagyon nagy többség számára egész egyszerűen szégyen ezt a kormányt támogatni.
The lead candidate of the Party of European Socialists also spoke at the event, calling Orbán's ruling reckless, irresponsible and undemocratic.
Since his party came to power, rule of law has eroded. He has transformed this country step by step into a system that grants himself full power and his friends access to all kinds of resources and money.
Nicolas Schmitt luxemburgi politikus, az Európai Szocialisták Pártjának csúcsjelöltje beszédében kiemelte, üzenetük az antidemokratikus szereplőknek és mozgalmaknak a következő: nincs együttműködés, nincs koalíció sem Orbán Viktorral, sem a szélsőjobboldallal. Számukra ez a vörös vonal. Kónya Rita, Euronews, Budapest.
Election campaigns in Croatia have been marked by bitter fighting between the country's two top officials, as the ballot on Wednesday will pit the ruling conservative Croatian Democratic Union, led by incumbent Prime Minister Andrej Plenković, against an alliance of centrist and left-wing parties informally led by populist President Zoran Milanović and his Social Democratic Party.
A što je alternativa i tko je alternativa? Alternativu u ovim izborima predvodi ne ova formalna oporba, nego je predvodi kršitelj Ustava Milanović, koji je napravio političku diverziju na ove parlamentarne izbore, ruši temelje ustavnog poretka Republike Hrvatske.
President Milanović becoming a prime minister designate would be an unprecedented move in Croatia. The Constitutional Court ruled in March that he could not be a candidate in the parliamentary elections while he remains president.
Ako Ustavni sud smatra da ima išta sporno, onda su trebali reagirati, jer u protivnom Hrvatsku će pretvoriti u nešto što Hrvatska nije bila i neće biti. Bjelorusiju ili slične zemlje.
According to the latest polls, the ruling party is set to remain in power, but will lose the majority. Observers point to the absence of topics of economy and security from public discourse during the campaign.
I sve se svodi na pitanje hoćete Plenkovića ili Milanovića, odnosno obrnuto. I to je jednu državu, jednu naciju koja nema puno političke kulture, nema puno demokratske tradicije, još po mom sudu nazadilo za nekoliko koraka.
The president plays a major role in the post-election formation of a governing coalition, and populist President Milanović is likely to remain center stage.